What's up? Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. My first guest tonight, a journeyman comedian. He's done everything. He's done adult stuff, kid stuff, talk soup for a while. And he's a road guy, man, and he does it all. Hal Sparks, what's up, man?
It's good to be here, man. Absolutely. It's interesting because that's the first thing, like, you and I start talking about. Right. It's just immediate road. Like,
no, because you have sort of the, not that you don't look good, you look good, but you do have the road weary look a little bit.
You got the eyes, yeah, the 1,000-yard stare or whatever. It's like,
well, you're a workaholic. You got a good work ethic.
Yeah.
Because again, you landed a great gig where you got a series,
right?
But not just a series, a Disney series
right.
that seems to be a hit.
Yeah.
We do 30 episodes a season.
Yeah.
Nice, because you get paid by the episode.
Right.
So that takes 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And then the 2 months you have off.
Just crowbar everything possible into those 2 months, so that after it, and this is the thing about television, you have something else to do.
Right.
That's the the good thing about being a stand-up, as grueling as it can be, is that I always have that go-to.
You're right.
I always have that fallback. I can't imagine what it would be like to just be an actor.
I agree with you.
Nothing else, like don't write, don't direct, don't whatever.
Yeah.
Especially like it would be brutal waiting for any role, a role, to be the right role and to get it.
Oh, forget it. Yeah, no, I mean, especially in television, because you got to go through getting the role, shooting the pilot. Does the pilot get picked up? 2 million different people could screw up their jobs, which affects your job.
Right.
Stand up. Look, it could be, the yuck hut in whatever valley, Idaho, but still you're on stage with a microphone. You're not bartending.
Yeah, and even if the mic goes out, you can just yell a little louder that night.
Yeah, you're in show business. I know it is, and it's a way to make money.
Yeah.
It's a way to make money. So, how much of the road do you do? Like all over the country in these 2 months?
Yeah, the cool thing about Lab Rats is because we're working with kids, our shoot schedule is protective of them.
Right.
And so we have.
Oh, that's right.
We do 3 episodes and then we have a week off. We do a hiatus every 3 weeks.
It's a union thing.
Yeah, and to keep them from being burned into the ground, so they all look like Macaulay Culkin after a bender. I don't know why these 19-year-olds are ashy and broken. maybe because we created this big machine and we keep shoving their faces into them. So they do have a really good system there, and so I have a guaranteed week out of every month where I can be on the road, and then I can fill my hiatus with other stuff.
I did a sitcom. I did a sitcom where it was 8 months because we did 22 episodes.
Yeah.
For 2 years, I was a regular on an ABC show, and I was a director. I was so lazy with the weeks off during the season. The 4 months off, I would do the road.
Right.
But sometimes I wanted to get out of L.A., so I'd say maybe go up to the Punchline, San Francisco, do a weekend. But not like, every... And look,
you don't want to Jay Leno it until you're just completely aggravated.
I mean, do you have the attitude where, like, you're going to retire young, that kind of thing?
No.
No, you don't care?
No, I mean, acting or what have you, I plan to be Hume Cronin. And as far as stand-up, Carlin's my hero. The idea is you just keep at it until you give out. The idea of retiring just seems kind of absurd to me.
I don't think I could not do it. I think a part of me would have to at least go just like once a month. I'd have to get up there and vent, or like my head would explode, But I get what you're saying. But if you're money wise, you're probably taken care of a little bit at this point. Or?
Yeah. I mean, it's reached a level of respectability.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to push really hard if I don't want to. Right. But the value of doing it, especially when you're doing a series, like whatever, 2 years from now, let's say I'm midway through and we do 4 years of this show, before the kids start to look 25 and it gets really like Facts of Life University.
That's the awkward moment.
Yeah, right. Where, all these high school students are starting to look like Welcome Back, Kotter.
They hit the gawky years.
And so knowing that that's the limit, I've got to set up something other side of that just to be a responsible human being. Right.
Well, it was, it's true. If you look at like the Partridge Family, it does seem like there was one summer where Danny Bonaducci went from Marlboro Reds to weed.
Yes.
You could almost pinpoint when that happened. But yeah, when you're working with kids, it's a whole different story. Your kids, how big of a fan are your kids of the show?
They're huge. Yeah, I called back home. I'm from PA.
Because I've heard of it. I've heard of
my son. Well, it's on all the time.
Yeah.
In a house with children.
They know what they're doing.
They put Disney XD on all the time, and Lab Rats. It's a huge show.
Yeah,
it's huge. And so my son was explaining this. I've never actually watched the show.
Right.
I just leave them to that, and I go do adult stuff.
It's educational, I assume.
No, it is not.
It is. No, it's not.
Funny. There's an element of science to it because I play a billionaire inventor, like a Tony Stark meets Richard Branson.
Donald Davenport.
Yeah, Donald Davenport, who, interestingly enough, is the name of Fred Gwynn's character in Secret of My Success.
Oh, no kidding.
Whatever. I don't know where that came from, but it just magically, that's the two lines.
It's a cool name, Donald Davenport.
Yes, very Disney. And ultimately, there is some value to it because we do try to hide a little bit of science in there or whatever. But it's written by the guys who created it are from that 70s show.
Okay.
And our exec, who oversees the whole thing, Mark Brazil, created that 70s show.
Right.
So,
I heard of him. Sure.
Yeah,
He's a big deal.
He's great. Yeah. And they work really hard at making it tolerable for the adults. Like, we bury a lot of jokes in there that I'm stunned we get on the air.
Well, that's what Bugs Bunny used to do.
Absolutely.
Before these animated shows that are just outright for adults, like The Simpsons and American Dad, Family Guy. Bugs Bunny, man, there were jokes you laughed at as a kid and you didn't know why. And then you get older, and they're still brilliant. Foghorn Leghorn is just, we play it sometimes in the show, is sheer brilliance for me. And the political incorrectness is absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the volume. I mean, you look at the war years of those. I mean, it's off the charts. Like, just the abject racism and against the Japanese, and it's just like, and they don't care at all. They're being paid by the government to make it more offensive. Well,
there's the episode of Foghorn Leghorn I always point out is when he has to babysit the little nerdy hen kid. And he tries to get the kid to play baseball. And he goes, "It's a baseball, son. Haven't you ever seen a baseball before?" And the kid's like, "No." And he looks, he goes, "Haven't you ever played baseball?" And the kid goes, "No." And Foghorn Leghorn calls the kid gay. He looks at the camera and he goes, "I'll say there's something yahoo about a boy who's never played baseball."
Totally.
I think there's something yee about a boy. And you know what he's saying? He's calling the kid gay for not playing baseball. I mean, that's like, my God.
Yeah.
Give the kid a break.
Right.
But I mean, that's 1940s.
Right.
Yeah.
Stunning.
What kind of jokes? I mean,
well, we had in the pilot, for example, it was one that I was amazed. We have a robot that runs the whole house. We have like an AI.
Yeah, I've seen this before. Yeah.
And at one point, he pops up on a screen in the lab, and Leo, my wife's son on the show, goes, "That thing's everywhere? I thought he was just in the living room." And he goes, "Nope, I'm everywhere. And by the way, nothing needs to be that clean, Sporto." He's in the shower too. And
nice.
I was like, "How did?" Is it that we have people that just don't get it, or are they totally cool because they know it's so high it'll go over?
And that keeps you guys as adults from going nuts,
from going bananas. I mean, I'm sure you've done voiceover work to some degree and stuff. If you've ever done a kid's cartoon, and this is we're live.
Never for kids. I did one cartoon that was supposed to be for adults. It lasted 6 episodes. But never a kids thing.
I did one on Nickelodeon for 3 years called Tack and the Power of Juju. And I did video games as the character.
It's good work.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. But you have never seen swearing, misogyny, rape jokes, pedophilia jokes, just the worst of the worst.
When they're off the air.
Yeah, between takes when you finish the line that you're saying and then just ramble because everything you're doing is so saccharine, so sugary sweet that you're just like, I gotta break free here a little bit.
Well, that's why, the guy with, what was the guy who just, Elmo, was it? That guy went crazy. Well, the guy who was on Alf, a brilliant guy named Max Wright was on the sitcom I did, the Norm Macdonald show, and he like a guy who did like Ibsen festivals, like a great actor, and he was the father on Alf, and every week Alf would outsmart this guy, a Yale trained actor, and they caught the guy. He became a huge cokehead, and they caught the guy coked up. He had to go to rehab for like 4 months. It's documented. He was in the prop room beating up Alf. Like, I'll kill you.
See, that's a show.
Yeah, that
I would watch. I don't know that I could watch Alf. With any regularity, even when it was on. I mean, I was in high school.
It was a hit, though.
Yeah, it was. Alien life form for those of you. And by the way, kudos for knowing Ibsen. I don't know that there's a lot of.
Well, I just know that because he told me that once.
Sure.
He does Ibsen festivals.
Sure.
And a few years later, I looked it up.
Yeah. Basically gibberish acting. Right. It's so bizarre. You're memorizing words with no context and adding emotion on top. It's bananas.